All right, back to the trade series. How about a trade between the Yankees and the Dodgers? Potentially a fun one. Okay, I've already mentioned Gleyber Torres in a couple, well, in a different trade, and I have him in a couple of more trades coming up. And the reason why I have his name mentioned more than once is because he is a fit for a lot of teams in a potential trade. And like I said before, the Yankees already have somebody who can replace him in Oswald Peraza at second base. So it makes sense to try to move a guy who's not a free agent until 2025, who they're likely not going to re-sign long term, and try to get something back in return. What am I looking for? Pitching. Okay. Now, Dodgers don't really have, at least I don't think so, have any starting pitching that they would be willing to trade. They're not going to trade Bobby Miller, and there's no way they're going to get him Gleyber Torres. So, and Julio Urias going to be a free agent at the end of the season. I think they're going to try and re-sign him too. So, I'm looking at the bullpen here. Okay. And again, let me know what you think. I have a bunch more teams coming, so please, whatever you do, don't leave without subscribing to this channel. That way you don't miss these things. And look in the description below. I have some other ones as well. Look at the video list. Okay. Now, in this particular trade, Gleyber Torres, like I said, he's not a free agent until 2025. Okay. And he's got talent, yes. And the only reason I'm positioning him is because we have a surplus of infielders. Okay, and we have infielders that need to be here who happen to be superior defensively, like an Oswald Peraza and Gleyber Torres is. Gleyber Torres is hot. I mean, he's really good when he's hot. He's really bad when he's cold. So very streaky. But in this particular trade, I would move him and number 9 prospect Yoendris Gomez, right-handed pitcher I mentioned the other day, to the Dodgers, and I would try to see if we could get Bristol Gratterall, who's a power reliever. Okay. They've got good relievers. And Bristol Gratterall is one of their big, strong guys. He's not a free agent until 2027. So a controllable reliever, okay, for Gleyber Torres, who's under control as well through 2024, and a young pitcher who's not even started the pre-R process yet. So they could potentially get a starter or reliever or something like that as well, whoever they decide to develop him as. So this, to me, is also a sensible trade. Okay, I'm also working on blockbuster trades. I know a lot of folks like blockbuster trades, but I want to come up with trades that can actually most likely happen first before we go balls to the wall blockbusters. So, which I am working on. So, and we'll get those before the deadline. And these types of trades can happen before the deadline, leading into the deadline. And I do think the market will establish itself more as we get closer, obviously. And Gleyber Torres likes to, I'm not Gleyber Torres, Brian Cashman likes to kind of feel the market out and see what becomes available to see how we can position himself in trades. But Yankees have needs before the deadline too. They've got a lot of guys who have gone down. So, and they're talking about, Scott Efros, excuse me, Lou Trevino, Lever's down, Judge, Nestor Cortes. I mean, both Frankie Montas. We've got Boatler, Harrison Bader, tons of guys out on injuries on the IL. So this trade makes sense now. It makes sense heading up to the deadline too. And again, I know we'll be losing a little bit of offense with Gleyber Torres, but again, it's inconsistent and it can be replaced, okay, by a guy like Oswald Peraza, who's shown he can hit the major league level and he's killing AAA, okay, and potentially with other trades too, because I don't think they're going to make just one trade. I think they're going to be pretty busy, and I think they're going to shake things up a little bit at the trade deadline. So, but this trade right here, again, Gleyber Torres and Yoendris Gomez to the Dodgers for Bristol Gratterall, power reliever. They give us a monster arm in a bullpen. And again, another option for a guy that maybe they can develop into a closer. Okay, they do not have a lights out closer yet. But this one, and I mentioned him about a year ago, Bristol Gratterall too. But, he's controllable, just like the other guys I mentioned, Garrett Crochet and Aaron Bummer from the White Sox. You can get a controllable power reliever here in a trade. That's good value back for Gleyber Torres. I'm not moving him just for just to move a roster spot. I'm moving him to get some value back, and Bristol Gratterall is value back. Okay, and again, his replacement's already in house, so you don't have to trade for his replacement. And you can if you want to try to pull up another trade, but this trade right here, like I'm going to trade offense for pitching, and I'm going to trade pitching for offense. Okay, this is why I mentioned Luis Severino too as a potential trade candidate. Okay, so there's a lot of options that they can do. And I do think they're going to make several moves. So, but we'll see. At the end of the day, I think the Yankees will be buyers. And this to me is a trade that just makes sense to me. But I want to know what you think. Load up the comments, and we're going to keep this series going. I'll talk to you later.